90-Day Fiancé's Season 11 premiere ended on a cliffhanger for Sarper and Shekinah, but I'm not all that worried. His chiseled face may have looked worried, but I'm not sweating it. Warning. The following contains spoilers for the 90-Day Fiancé Season 11 premiere. I love you, and you. Stream it with a Max subscription and read at your own risk. 90-Day Fiancé spin-offs have come and gone on the 2025 TV schedule, but the flagship series' return for Season 11 truly makes it feel like a new year of coupledom drama has begun. While the cast is primarily new couples, returning cast members Shekinah Garner and Sarper Güven are working on the next steps to a happy marriage following their engagement. The season premiere ended on a cliffhanger regarding his K1 visa interview, but I wouldn't worry about it. I thoroughly enjoyed 95% or so of 90-Day Fiancé's Season 11 premiere, but I must dock the EP some points for that ending. Much like when the franchise tried to manufacture tension by filming Joe Cohn being unreachable hours before his flight to Poland, this scene was constructed to have a lot of smoke but ultimately no fire. Sarper had a concerned look on his face following his K1 visa interview. Sarper appeared confident ahead of his interview for his K1 visa to go to the United States, but he exited with a perturbed look on his face. He looked more worried in that moment than when he revealed the jaw-dropping number of women he slept with before Shekinah, if that's a limbo bar to use. 90-Day Fiancé's latest premiere ended on a cliffhanger that made it seem like some bad news was about to be revealed that would potentially jeopardize their relationship. And while that may be the case for the short term, we know that good news is on the way. We already know what happened thanks to The Other Way Season 6. Viewers who avoid the spin-offs might have been concerned, but those who watched 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way last year likely weren't. Sarper appeared in person at the Season 6 tell-all special, and when we learned where all the couples ended up, he confirmed he's been living in the United States with Shekinah for a while. At that point, that outcome likely wouldn't be possible if he failed to secure his K1 visa, so I'd imagine whatever happened during this interview either wasn't significant in the long run, or he was intentionally deceiving his fiancée. However, this isn't to say there's zero stakes in their story in 90-Day Fiancé Season 11. Shekinah and Sarper are still coming off of some serious drama. She had moved out of his place in Turkey during their previous season after he removed her hair extensions during a fight. They moved forward enough for her to accept his proposal, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the incident will resurface the moment these two have a conflict when he's in the United States. As mentioned, 90-Day Fiancé's Season 11 premiere was an absolute banger outside of that one moment. Now is the time to catch up before next week and learn about the couple's first throuple, which I'm sure I'll want to talk more about soon enough. Mick Jost is a content producer for Cinema Blend with his hand in an eclectic mix of television goodness. Star Trek is his main jam, but he also regularly reports on happenings in the world of Star Trek, WWE, Doctor Who, 90-Day Fiancé, Quantum Leap, and Big Brother. He graduated from the University of Southern Indiana with a degree in journalism and a minor in radio and television. He's great at hosting panels and appearing on podcasts if given the chance as well. Are 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way Shekinah and Sarper still together after she moved out? Here's what we know. Warning! The following may contain spoilers for Shekinah Garner and Sarper Güven's storyline in 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way. Watch this season on TLC or with a Max subscription, and read at your own risk. 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 6 has been a rough ride for Shekinah and Sarper. While it seemed at first the only trouble they'd have is him micromanaging the plan for her nose job in a wild storyline, things have drastically escalated after a fight. As the couple heads to therapy after an altercation that ended with Shekinah losing her hair extensions, what's the status of their relationship? Fortunately, the internet has come through with answers, and we now have an idea of where things stand with these two. After checking on if these two were still together last year following red flags in their relationship, here's where things seemingly stand in the present. While 90-Day Fiancé cast members have been known to hold on to pictures and occasionally deceive viewers into believing something else is going on, it seems like Shekinah is making efforts to show she's in a good place with Sarper. With a caption that talked about forgiveness and understanding, she uploaded a picture of the two of them kissing. Sarper commented on the post as well, talking about how he didn't regret having her in his life despite all the changes that have come from it, so I would assume they are still together. I guess at the end of the day, it was worth getting rid of that strange sex journal he had. Given all of this, I think it's safe to assume these two are still together, but we can't say anything with 100% certainty. Someone spotted Sarper in California. Not only does it appear that Sarper and Shekinah are still together, a recent Reddit post revealed they may be taking steps closer to marriage. Check out the photo taken by someone below, who allegedly saw Sarper while in Monterey, California. Either Sarper is finally working on that spin-off with Tyree Mollett that I hypothetically pitched, or he's indeed in the United States, presumably to be with Shekinah. He might even be going through the K-1 visa process as part of filming for an upcoming season while also preparing for marriage, which is a far cry from where their relationship is right now. All of that said, I'm rooting for love to hold out, provided their relationship is in a good place. We've seen so many married 90-day fiancé couples split over the past couple of years that it's beginning to get depressing. It's almost like properly researching foreign countries and getting to know one's partner before a big commitment is a good idea or something. That said, I'm sure the casting department intentionally seeks out couples who tend to lean into the drama. See more of Shekinah and Sarper on 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way on TLC on Mondays ADP.m. ET. The schedule has so many great shows checking out that bring the drama just as much as this franchise, so be sure to check out what's coming up. Mick Jost is a content producer for Cinema Blend with his hand in an eclectic mix of television goodness. Star Trek is his main jam, but he also regularly reports on happenings in the world of Star Trek, WWE, Doctor Who, 90-Day Fiancé, Quantum Leap, and Big Brother. He graduated from the University of Southern Indiana with a degree in journalism and a minor in radio and television. He's great at hosting panels and appearing on podcasts if given the chance as well. 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Ways. Sarper provided receipts for his astronomical body count, and I'm at a loss for words. After a 3-part tell-all, 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 5 finally came to a close, and while I'm typically not a fan of any reunion exceeding past 2 installments, this was the rare example in recent memory that I felt still left a lot undiscussed. This is especially true after Sarper Güven decided to provide receipts for his astronomically high body count, although I guess I'm not quite sure what else could be after the reveal, which was shocking beyond words. 90-Day Fiancé viewers may or may not remember when Sarper first revealed his jaw-dropping number of partners. I admittedly cast some doubt on his claim of having slept with 2,500 women, at least at face value, and it seems Sarper predicted that viewers me would be skeptical, as he used the final part of his segment to confirm at least a portion of the overarching total. In what I'm sure will become a tell-all moment fans revisit with a Max subscription for years to come, Sarper revealed a bizarre journal where he allegedly documented his UAL exploits for more than a decade. Sarper kept a diary to tally his sexual encounters. At the risk of his relationship with Shekinah Garner, Sarper revealed something she hadn't known about him. Shekinah, who dropped the wild twist she was raised Amish when she was first introduced, learned alongside the rest of the cast that Sarper kept a journal from 1998 to of every woman he slept with. He then brandished a notebook, which contained pages and pages filled with XS, colors, and numbered totals. The 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way tell-all didn't get the full skinny on how Sarper's system worked, but it was confirmed that each X represented a different woman, with varying colors applied to each entry. He explained the colors represented the spectrum of how beautiful he felt each woman was. Sarper concluded by saying he'd slept with 1,459 women during that diary-centric era, but that the 11 years of UAL exploits ahead of him meeting Shekinah were not documented. He explained that he'd quit keeping such specific specs, but used a rough estimation to arrive at his final number of 2,500. Sarper's reason for revealing it had nothing to do with Shekinah. Though I've made it clear I'm not a fan of past cast members participating in the tell-all, they were actually more helpful than not in this specific case. They joined others in wanting to know why Sarper revealed this information during the wrap-up eps, especially since it was previously unknown to Shekinah and was embarrassing for her to deal with. When pressed, his main reasoning was just to shut down the doubters throughout the 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way fandom. Shekinah, while embarrassed, continued to justify the number of red flags in their relationship to the rest of The Other Way Season 5 cast. To cut both of them some slack, it is worth noting that most of this season's couples were engaged in relationships that casual observers might consider toxic. So glass houses were shattering left and right as couples threw stones at each other during the tell-all. I get why Shekinah wouldn't listen to people like Danielle Gates about relationship advice, especially if she learned where Danielle's relationship currently stands with Johan Geronimo. At the same time, one would think Sarper and Shekinah would sooner have a healthier relationship and should take the criticism as others as a hint they might need to work on some issues in their relationship. For Sarper, he could start by getting rid of that bizarre journal he still has decades later because that's not a good look, even if Shekinah wasn't in the picture. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way Season 5 is finished, but I would wager a few of these couples will continue their journey in other spin-offs. We'll be patiently waiting to see which couples pop up again in the future, and hopefully, if Shekinah and Sarper are in the mix, they'll be in a better place than where we saw them in the tell-all. Mick Jost is a content producer for Cinema Blend with his hand in an eclectic mix of television goodness. Star Trek is his main jam, but he also regularly reports on happenings in the world of Star Trek, WWE, Doctor Who, 90 Day Fiancé, Quantum Leap, and Big Brother. He graduated from the University of Southern Indiana with a degree in journalism and a minor in radio and television. He's great at hosting panels and appearing on podcasts if given the chance as well. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way finally introduced Shekinah and a wild twist I shouldn't even be surprised by. The 90 Day Fiancé franchise finds a way to make every season unique, though with so many spin-offs, it can sometimes feel like you've seen a storyline before. Despite the show giving us yet another American woman who moved to India with no idea what the cultural norms are, we've finally gotten something entirely new after being introduced to The Other Way's Shekinah and Sarper. TLC showed great restraint in hiding a wild reveal about Shekinah, though, in hindsight, I shouldn't be surprised knowing the history of this network. For those who missed the episode on TLC and haven't had a chance to catch up with their Max subscription, viewers learned something wild about Shekinah that was left out of the trailers. I'd even go so far as to say this is more surprising than when Tyree Mollett discovered he was catfished in before the 90 Days season premiere, despite the fact that it's a totally on-brand reveal for the network. Shekinah was raised Amish at first glance. Shekinah may seem like the average 41-year-old esthetician living in Los Angeles, California. Soon after her introduction, however, she revealed that she was raised in the Amish lifestyle throughout her childhood. Shekinah was the oldest of 6 girls and lived in Tennessee with them and without the modern luxuries others her age enjoyed. Shekinah added that neither of her parents were Amish, but they had a lot of friends who were. This convinced them to adopt the lifestyle which, among other things, meant that Shekinah could never cut her hair. Shekinah said she was the most rebellious of her sisters and ultimately convinced her parents to leave the Amish lifestyle, and now lives her life as glamorous as she possibly can. It was quite a wild story, especially since her family had zero ties to the Amish community outside of friends. TLC has a history of putting Amish on television while Shekinah was not officially Amish. I'd say being raised in the lifestyle counts just as much. TLC, of course, has featured the Amish on its network over the years through various shows like Breaking Amish and Return to Amish. As I said, it shouldn't be surprising that we now have someone like this in the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. Still, I am shocked that it wasn't mentioned when the season was first announced. I can imagine Shekinah's past was occluded because it wasn't relevant to her current life. Shekinah lives a very modern lifestyle in Los Angeles, and as she said in her introduction, her parents walked away from the Amish lifestyle. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed by that, only because I'd love to see an international resident go to visit their parents and be blindsided by the niche way of living. Fortunately, what we've heard about her and Sarper's story so far sounds interesting, so we'll have to see where it goes. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way airs on TLC on Mondays at p.m. Eastern Time. I'm sure there are some surprises on the way, even more wild than the one we just learned, but as for what they may be, we'll just have to wait and see. Mick Jost is a content producer for Cinema Blend with his hand in an eclectic mix of television goodness. Star Trek is his main jam, but he also regularly reports on happenings in the world of Star Trek, WWE, Doctor Who, 90 Day Fiancé, Quantum Leap, and Big Brother. He graduated from the University of Southern Indiana with a degree in journalism and a minor in radio and television. He's great at hosting panels and appearing on podcasts if given the chance as well. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way's Sarper revealed how many people he's with, and my jaw is on the floor when I first learned that Shekinah Garner was raised Amish. I thought that would be inherent to how her storyline with Sarper Güven would peak. After this latest episode, however, it's feeling more and more like 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way saved its wildest couple to introduce last, as Sarper dropped a belief-defying number concerning how many women he claims to have had with. For those who missed the episode and think the total is upward of 100 or even, let's just say a few more people are involved. The conversation of Sarper's body count popped up when the 90 Day Fiancé couple finally arrived at his bachelor pad in Istanbul. Shekinah saw that Sarper still had his original bed from when they first met, and she wasn't impressed. This then brought up her recalling the first time that he shared how many people he slept with before her, and dropped the staggering news that the number was 2,500, give or take. I would wager that most individuals don't even know over 2,000 people personally, let alone know that many people well enough to invite them into their bedroom. Of course, Sarper was a notorious bachelor, and reminded Shekinah that she was the very first real relationship that he'd ever had, which came at age 43. Check out the scene below in which Sarper first talked about how Shekinah took him off the market. Sarper promised to replace his bed ahead of Shekinah traveling to Istanbul, but obviously did not dispose of the potentially grody keepsake. When she confronted him about it, Sarper confessed he didn't want to get rid of his bed, mainly because it's comfortable and he sleeps so well on it. Shekinah responded by saying she'd be sleeping on the couch until he replaced it, and Sarper begrudgingly joined her. If Shekinah can move past the bonkers statistic of Sarper's past partners, and he has zero issues sleeping on the couch with her, it feels like there's no problem this 90-day fiancé couple can't work past. With that said, the cast announcement for The Other Way Season 5 indicated she will learn a lot more about him during her stay, so maybe some even more shocking reveals are on the way for viewers watching on TLC or with their Max subscription. I'm invested in this storyline, especially because of these curveballs that fly in the face of the usual 90-day fiancé twists. We already have Brandon DiNuccio and Mary Demisway for the unexpected pregnancy storyline, and Kimberly Rochelle nailed the cast member over their head in another country after her drama in India with TJ Goswami's family. It's nice to have this wild couple on the side with even wilder reveals about their lives, even if I am a tad skeptical on the numbers. 90-Day Fiancé. The Other Way airs on TLC on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There's still time for those who have fallen behind to catch up, and I can assure you that out of all the spin-offs of this franchise, The Other Way is simply one that cannot be missed. Mick Jost is a content producer for Cinema Blend with his hand in an eclectic mix of television goodness. Star Trek is his main jam, but he also regularly reports on happenings in the world of Star Trek, WWE, Doctor Who, 90-Day Fiancé, Quantum Leap, and Big Brother. He graduated from the University of Southern Indiana with a degree in journalism and a minor in radio and television. He's great at hosting panels